and how long the cold conditions will stick around.
And Wes, we're going to take a look at the severe weather that impacted the state over the weekend. Plus, we're going to check out some of the damage that was left behind.
Plus, we take you to places across the country who are starting the cleanup process after a weekend of extreme weather.
Live on your side, First Alert Weather Extra starts right now.
And right now on Weather Extra, more First Alert weather days for this changing weather. Tania joining us again. A lot to talk about, Tania.
Oh my goodness, Wes. We are kicking off the week on a cold start, plus we're ending it on a cold note too. So
I mean, look at the roller coaster. I mean, you go Friday, we're in the freezing range. Over the weekend, we're up to 70 with storms, and now here we go again, back to cold.
I know, and it's not just the cold. We're talking about the feel-like temperatures, what it could feel like as we bring in Thursday morning, single-digit wind chill.
Yeah, one of the next big things we're going to be talking about, but also here on Weather Extra, we are going to give you the extra, some of that extreme weather happening across the country. And one place where we've been talking about, and we're going to show you some pictures later in the show, a lot of that flooding happening in parts of Kentucky. But look at this, after all the flooding, also dealing with snowy weather. And this was just yesterday in Lexington. Look at all the snow. John Bubble there in the Lexington area sharing several snowy scenes, but they had heavy accumulations. They were dealing with water rescues, and now this extreme cold. But just some very hazardous weather happening all across the country. And here's the thing, tomorrow night we could see some winter weather across parts of Alabama. And that's why I have declared First Alert weather days for late Tuesday night, early Wednesday for areas to the north. And then the possibility, as Tania noted, we could see single-digit wind chills into early on Thursday. So let's talk about it. First up tonight, we have temperatures down into the freezing range, possibility of some mid-20s for areas north, but those 20s possible even to the far south, Greensboro, Clanton, Rockford, temperatures below freezing, so plan for another cold start tomorrow. The good thing is temperatures will rise above freezing, and rain moves in tomorrow night, and by the time that happens, for most of us, we'll be above freezing. You can see we do have the green for most of the areas, suggesting rainy weather, but a cold rain late tomorrow night, early Wednesday morning. But to the north, we could see some light accumulations of sleet or snow, and that does include areas along and north, especially the Highway 278 corridor. And we may see that rain-snow line or wintry mix line perhaps drop as far south as northern Fayette and Lamar counties, and maybe even the parts of Walker County late tomorrow night. But you can see right now what we're suggesting is maybe a half inch or less. I still think the main impacts, the heaviest snow accumulations, will happen north of us. Looks like along and north of the Tennessee River, seeing winter storm warnings right now across central Tennessee and areas to the north. Might end up seeing a winter weather advisory, which still means early Wednesday morning we could have some slippery travel in a few areas, so giving you that first alert. Also, again, mostly north on the wintry mix. And then as we head into Wednesday night and into early Thursday morning, sub-freezing temperatures area-wide, and there is a chance that we're going to be dealing with single-digit wind chills. You can see the start times late tomorrow night on that wet weather, 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock west, after midnight for central and eastern areas, and it looks like that could wrap up around 10, 11 o'clock early on Wednesday. Power outage map across the state, certainly an improvement. Of course, we're coming off of a weekend where we had those severe storms and damaging winds that moved through, even a few tornadoes in a few areas. Meteorologist Matt Daniel joins us now with a look at those storm reports from the weekend and brings the latest on the preliminary tornado reports from across central Alabama.
We had some intense storms move through over the weekend. Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt, Meteorologist Lauren Linehan were here tracking those storms, keeping you safe. We saw this, lots of wind, and of course, we had numerous power outages as well because of those straight line winds that we were forecasting. In fact, you can see the power going out right here. This video was sent in through the WBRC First Alert weather app from Richard Lewis, showing that intense lightning and those power outages happening. We had viewers send in those photos too of some damage. Leanne Blair sent this in on Millerville, Clay County. Look at that. That's the farmhouse there. It looks like parts of the roof were peeled off because of those strong winds. One viewer sent this in, a power line down in Jasper. So, of course, power outages were numerous Sunday and still dealing with those power outages even as of today. But those numbers definitely have been shrinking. This viewer from Lincoln, Jim, sent this in. Parts of the roof or the side of the building sort of peeled off. More trees down here in Bessemer as well. And more trees just being broken broken, sort of like toothpicks, just getting tossed around from those straight line winds. Richard Lewis sent this in out of Little Oak Ridge. So here's a look at some of those estimated wind gusts that were actually observed from early Sunday morning. Montgomery was the winner when it comes to those wind gusts. 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. It's getting close to hurricane strength. Alice Silicaga, 62 miles per hour. Anniston at 55, and Tuscaloosa 52. Talladega at 51, and we even saw those gusts up to 40 to 50 from Birmingham and into Jemison, Jasper, Gadsden, and Alabaster. And on top of that, we had a few of those spin-up tornadoes, as we were mentioning the threat. These are preliminary. This number may increase across the state, but some of these numbers were from Huntsville, here in Birmingham, the National Weather Service down in Mobile. But you can see Franklin County and Clark County recorded an EF2 tornado there. Marshall County and Tuscumbia recorded EF1s. Macon County had a preliminary EF1 tornado, and in Hale and Perry counties, an EF1 tornado. And this is the basic idea of that particular track. As we zoom on in, this occurred right around 12:52 early in the morning on Sunday, and then this tornado sort of dissipated by 1:10. But estimated winds were around 95 miles per hour, about 18-mile track, and 200 yards with that path width. And injuries, 2 injuries from this particular storm. And of course, once we get more of those information on those surveys, which they are continuing to do today, we will keep you up to date with that information. Tania?
Thanks, Matt. The National Weather Service in Birmingham confirming 2 more EF1 tornadoes. They were in Tallapoosa and Macon counties, bringing the total number of tornadoes over the weekend in Alabama to 3. And speaking of the tornado damage across Hale County, families are working to figure out what's next after losing their homes in that EF1 tornado. Your West Alabama reporter Brian Henry joins us to talk about and really talk with a man who lost his home but is grateful his family is okay.
Speed, the strength, is everything.
James Williams learned a hard lesson over the weekend, and he almost paid for it with his life.
I dive on the floor. My latest shoe finna dive on the floor. And the back wall caved in and caught her arm to the chair, pinned to the chair, the couch, and I snatched her on the floor with me.
Williams and his partner of 10 years, Samantha, survived without a scratch. Emotionally speaking, is another story. He realizes now more than ever, pay attention to those weather alerts and take them seriously.
I'm just happy that we still here, nobody get hurt, but this here can be replaced.
This meaning Williams's home of many years crushed in a matter of seconds. It was one of several destroyed in Hale County, according to EMA Director Russ Weedham.
We've had about 30 homes that were damaged. 7 to 8 were totally destroyed. They said these winds were 95 miles an hour, is what the Weather Service said.
Powerful enough to snap power poles in two, and another calling card of the storm, a piece of wood embedded in the ground, stuck for now.
I was sitting here.
Back to James Williams, the tornado pointed Williams and Samantha in a different direction in life.
Right now I'm just trying to process everything, trying to figure out what we're gonna do next,
Starting over, together. James Williams says he has no idea whether he will rebuild. He didn't have any insurance on the mobile home, but he says he does have a full-time job with benefits and friends. Your reporter in Hale County, Brian Henry, WBRC 6 News, on your side.
And this is why we always stress getting multiple ways of updates, and one of them is by downloading the First Alert Weather app. You can scan this QR code on the screen. You'll be able to get the latest information on Wednesday and Thursday's First Alert Weather Day, plus personalized alerts for your exact location. Well, coming up in 30 seconds, we talk about the cold conditions for the week, and we're going to take you across the country to places that saw devastating flooding over the weekend.
Over the next couple of days, we're going to be dissecting the severe weather event that came through the state over the course of the weekend. But I thought I'd take a look back at how much rain we've seen. Over the last 7 days, the southeast was inundated with several inches of rain. And with that, we picked up 3, 4, 5, upwards of 6 inches of rain from Lamar to Marion counties, over 6 inches of rain. This is radar estimate from Chilton to Coosa County, and this was needed. I mean, we needed the rain around here, but we have now surpassed the average rain total for Anniston. Typically for the month of February, we see just a little over 5 inches of rain. And I do want to point out, I do think Tuscaloosa's gauge may be a little off because, I mean, they have picked up another several inches from this past weekend. So they could be closer to about 4, 4.5. We'll be digging into that as well. But overall, Birmingham, I mean, over 3.5 inches of rain for the month, and we're not done yet. We're still expecting a good steady rain late Tuesday into Wednesday, so that will add into these February rainfall totals.
All right, we're talking about rain totals. How about snow totals right now? And this is the latest data from the GFS. This is the American model. New global data just in, and it is showing the possibility of some snow accumulations by the end of the week. This is mostly with that system tomorrow night and into Wednesday, but you can see North Alabama, and we need to watch our northern areas. It will be interesting to see how far south we'll see that rain snow line set up late tomorrow night. I still think far northern areas, that's where we'll have the greatest chance. Now, are you planning for the weekend? I just wanted to go ahead, I know it's Monday, but give you a first alert update on what you can expect as you plan ahead for Saturday and Sunday. This weekend will not feature, thankfully, severe weather, but Saturday looks like a dry day. We could see some rain come back by Sunday afternoon. It does look like highs in the 50s on Sunday and a chance for some showers later in the day. Still very cold at night with temperatures into the freezing range. Tania?
Well, thanks, Wes. Well, now let's go across America because we weren't the only ones that saw severe weather over the weekend. We're going to take you now to other parts of our nation where our neighbors up in North Tennessee, they're actually dealing with and had dealt with torrential rains with extreme flooding that even led to a levee failure. Check out this drone footage of the damage across the community of Reves. It happened Sunday after the National Weather Service office in Memphis issued a flash flood emergency. As the flooding began, meteorologists in the area urged residents to get to higher ground as soon as possible because of the life-threatening conditions. And a similar situation happening in Virginia as a flash flood brought about dangerous and life-threatening conditions as well. Residents across parts of southwestern Virginia were encouraged to evacuate. A state of emergency was declared across West Virginia, with the Bluestone River experiencing major flooding. Landslides and rock slides were also possible in the areas affected by the heavy rain. And across Kentucky, the mayor of Hazard saying the community faced the largest flood the city has seen since 1984 over the weekend. Amelia Lee has the latest.
Mayor Happy Mobilini says the North Fork Kentucky River crested at 30.5 feet overnight, Saturday into Sunday.
Which is the largest flood we've had since 1984. So, you know, we had warning that we were going to be flooded. We just didn't know it was going to be this extensive.
He says this flood is bigger than past floods since it covered parts all throughout Perry County.
In 2022, it was awful, but it only covered part of the county and this town. This one covers the entire county.
With more than 100 water rescues taking place with the help of fire and police departments. Perry County Emergency Management Director Jerry Stacy says if you are in a life-threatening emergency situation, to call 911.
We're still focused on making sure that you know, we're getting people out of harm's way. That's our main focus at this moment.
Mayor Mobilini says the water plant is up and running, but if folks do not have water, there is a solution.
The areas that that does have issues, we will be putting, hopefully by tomorrow, we'll be doing water drops in those areas.
Stacy says he understands that folks are worried. He says the priority of city and county officials is to always be there for the people who live here.
We know how this is another catastrophic event for our county. It just is. And there is no quick fixes to any situation that we're going to have. We will work tirelessly around the clock to meet every need that we possibly can for the citizens of this city and county.
With a continued sense of resiliency throughout eastern Kentucky.
We're strong, and we're fighters, and we'll get through this just like we did in 2022.
Well, don't go anywhere. We continue to talk about the First Alert Weather Day for your Wednesday and into Thursday, and share some of your viewer photos sent in on the First Alert Weather app. And welcome back into Weather Extra. Another cold night out there, and we're going to be watching closely. Tomorrow night could get real interesting across northern areas. We might see some accumulating wintry precipitation. This is all going to begin late tomorrow night. We could see a mixture of sleet and snow along and north of the 278 corridor. And let's keep a close watch on that radar. Places like Jasper, southern Coleman County, Aniana, and areas just north of Birmingham. See how far south that sets up. I do think, though, as we get into Wednesday morning, we'll gradually see that cold rain transition a bit further north. Slippery travel spots, though, that is a possibility. Listen, the roads are going to be wet Wednesday morning anyway. You'll want to factor in some extra drive time. A lot of rain out there, but to the north could have some icy travel in a few locations. And Wednesday night, notice we have single-digit wind chills. We carried over that First Alert Weather Day into Thursday just because it's going to be so cold across the area early Thursday morning. But the next big thing, of course, that rain coming in tomorrow night. No issues tonight, and the temperatures will drop into the 20s for a lot of us for lows. But during the day Tuesday, still not a bad day. If you have big outdoor projects planned for tomorrow, we'll actually have a little sun mixing in the morning, but those clouds really thicken up later in the day, and the rain moves in late tomorrow night. Most of this after 11, but you can clearly see the models are still showing. Look at that, a lot of wet weather there across central areas and to the north. Look at all this snow. Tennessee back into North Alabama. Now there are winter storms storm warnings for places like Nashville. This is where we'll see the more significant accumulations. But of course, as is often the case for us, we're right there on that southern line. Could this set up further north or further south? Some of the data has trended a little bit further north, but I still think with it being so cold and dry, as the atmosphere saturates, we'll see that freezing line set up right in this zone there late tomorrow night. And notice how it really doesn't move much into early Wednesday morning, so still really need to pay attention to those northwest locations in here around places like Double Springs and Haleyville, Bear Creek, Hackleburg, Hamilton. Could have some icy travel, some bridges and overpasses. By 9 o'clock though Wednesday morning, this model shows most of the moisture out of here, which is a good thing. We'll have a chance to dry out later in the day because it is going to be very cold out there early Thursday morning. I'm seeing lows in the teens. This is the wind chill, and look, it's up. The numbers have updated now, showing a wind chill as low as 3 degrees. I saw some data showed -1, -2 degrees feels like temperature early Thursday for places like Winston, Coleman, and Blount counties. If we have some snow on the ground, it will certainly feel that cold early in the day, but notice wind chills down into the teens well to the south. So again, the big story this week, that system moving in tomorrow night and early Wednesday, mostly a cold rain, and then Thursday morning and even Friday morning down into the teens, but some dangerous wind chills there early on Thursday. And then we'll have some rain coming back around Sunday, but Saturday looks dry, making those weekend plans. But now what we want to do is take you beyond the 7-day forecast, because I know we're talking about cold this week. Listen, it's Alabama. You know it's going to keep on changing, right? So tell us, Tania, what are we seeing into next week?
Well, Wes, the big question is, will the warmth return?
Yes.
We're actually 31 days away until astronomical spring, so that gives us some hope.
Yet 19 days away from daylight saving time.
Okay, we hopefully are trending a little bit warmer as we
Right.
approach the spring season, but this week isn't going to bring the warmth. I can guarantee you that. So let's talk about beyond the 7-day. Let's go past this week. This is going to show us really the end of this month, February 25th through early March 3rd. And notice, I have some good news. Much of the nation, much of the United States dealing with above average temperatures, and we could be again seeing above average temperatures right here across central Alabama. So not too bad. And our rainfall doesn't look horrible either as we approach the end of this month. We're tracking more near average rainfall, closing out the month and starting the month of March. Again, 31 days away till spring, but who's counting? Here we are looking at our beyond the 7-day rain chances as we close out the month. Not a whole lot is expected. Yeah, some passing clouds. Maybe our next chance to rain closer to the end of the month around February the 27th. It doesn't look like a washout, very quick moving system. And it looks like we could see some rain chances, maybe not until early March after the 27th. So maybe March 3rd, some passing showers. But will the warmth return? That's the one big question that some of you may be asking. So let's talk about this. As we bring in the end of this month, I'm still seeing some really cold mornings and some more possible freezes overnight. So still stay away from planting those gardens just yet. I do think that possibly still stands as we approach the month of March. But I have some good news. Early March, around, I would say March 3rd, this is Monday, 6 p.m. That's 6 p.m. and we're tracking some upper 50s across the area, across central Alabama. Notice we're looking a little bit more yellow and red, meaning that, hey, we do have some warmer conditions on the way. So warmth will definitely return. But don't go anywhere. You're watching First Alert Weather Extra. We'll have a final look at that 7-day forecast, and we're going to take some time to check out your submitted weather photos right here after the break.